she was one of the most powerful women in Hungary. But behind the walls of her castle, something so dark happened. Even the devil would turn away. Her name was Elizabeth Bathory, the woman history calls the most sadistic female serial killer of all time. Born in 1560 into one of the most powerful noble families of Hungary, Elizabeth Bathory was no ordinary woman. She owned vast lands, commanded a private army, and lived surrounded by wealth, mystery, and influence. Educated, multilingual, and versed in medicine and alchemy, she was brilliant and dangerous. After the death of her husband, whispers began to spread. Peasant girls entered her castle and vanished. Villagers spoke of screams at night, locked rooms, and bloodstains in the snow. The rumors grew darker with time. Some said she believed that bathing in the blood of virgins would keep her young forever. A legend that would earn her a chilling title, the Blood Countess. Elizabeth Bathory was born into privilege, but also into darkness. Her family tree was tangled. Cousins married cousins, and madness ran through their bloodline. From an early age, Elizabeth suffered seizures and strange visions. Some say she would scream at night about shadows crawling on the walls. By the time she was a teenager, servants whispered that she enjoyed harming animals. One maid reported seeing her drive needles into a bird, just to see it twitch. Another claimed she once laughed as she watched a stable boy beaten until he bled. But no one dared stop her. After all, she was a noble, and nobles in 16th century Hungary were untouchable. The cruelty was just beginning. At just 15, Elizabeth was married to Count Ferenc Nadasdy, a feared warrior known as the Black Knight of Hungary. Their wedding was lavish, attended by royalty. But behind the grandeur, something sinister stirred. As a wedding gift, Ferenc gave her a castle, Csakteche Castle, cold, isolated, and surrounded by dark forests. It would later be called the Blood Castle. Ferenc was often away at war, but when he returned, he didn't bring flowers, he brought torture techniques. He taught Elizabeth how to punish servants using iron spikes, honey, and ants, even red-hot pincers. Some say they tortured together and laughed. When Ferenc died in 1604, Elizabeth was left alone with her darkest urges, and no one around her dared to resist. After her husband's death, something changed. Young peasant girls who came to serve at Csakteche Castle never returned. At first, people whispered they ran away. They were thieves. But the truth was far worse. Survivors spoke of underground chambers, of girls beaten, burned, frozen, starved, of needles driven beneath fingernails, of the Countess bathing in blood, believing it would preserve her youth. She became obsessed with beauty and immortality, and believed blood, fresh, virgin blood, was the answer. As years passed, hundreds vanished, but Elizabeth was untouchable, a noble woman. No one dared accuse her yet. But rumors spread like wildfire. A Lutheran minister spoke out, accusing the Countess of unspeakable crimes. Still, nothing was done, until King Matthias II himself ordered an investigation. In 1610, Count Georgi Thurzo arrived at the castle with soldiers. What they found was hell. Blood on the walls, dead and dying girls in locked rooms, torture devices, evidence of mass murder. Elizabeth was caught in the act, red-handed, but because of her noble blood, she was never put on trial. Instead, her accomplices were tortured and executed. And Elizabeth? She was bricked inside her chamber, alive. Only a small slit was left to pass food and water. Elizabeth Bathory died in 1614, still walled inside her room. But her story didn't die with her. It only grew darker. Some say she bathed in virgin blood to stay young. Others claim she made deals with the devil himself. Was she a monster, or the victim of a political conspiracy? Historians still argue, but one thing is certain: she became a legend. The Blood Countess, one of the most terrifying women in history. And now her name is whispered in the same breath as Dracula. A warning, a myth, a nightmare. But tell me, if power could protect you from justice, how far would you go? Some say her spirit still roams the ruins of Chaktiche Castle, seeking new victims to bathe in their blood. Others believe her story is merely a tale, twisted by politics and fear. But the truth, it may be far darker than we will ever know. What do you think? Was Elizabeth Bathory a monster, or a victim of a greater conspiracy?